Alright guys, big MMA news just dropped and there is a lot to unpack today. From fighters pushing back against the UFC, retirement lines being drawn, major fight announcements getting dragged by fans, and a huge weight class shakeup, let's get right into it. The drama kicked off with former light heavyweight champion Jiří Procházka, who isn't exactly thrilled with how the UFC framed his latest win. The promotion recently labeled Jiří's victory over Khalil Rountree Jr. as comeback of the year, but Jiří himself isn't buying that narrative. Jiří took to social media to clarify his stance, saying that fight wasn't a comeback at all. In his words, he felt in full control from start to finish, controlling distance, rhythm, and precision, even when Rountree had moments of success. For Jiří, this wasn't about returning from adversity. It was about proving consistency at the elite level. But that's not all, because in the lightweight division, Justin Gaethje may have just drawn a very serious line in the sand. Speaking with Aaron Bronstetter, Gaethje confirmed that his upcoming interim title fight against Paddy Pimblett could be one of the final chapters of his career. Gaethje admitted that while he still feels competitive, another knockout loss would likely be it for him.
Give me a number of how many wars you have left in you. Do you still? What is that number today?
One more knockout. I went to sleep. Before that, I'd never been put to sleep. If I would get put to sleep again, I would definitely call it quits.
Really? So you're drawing a line?
That's been my line. Yeah, it never happened, so I wasn't like, if I get knocked out, I'm quitting. But once I got knocked out, 37 years old. If I was 20, 27, 30, this would be a different story. But this is not the beginning. This is definitely the end of my career, and it's been such an amazing thing. And obviously, they'll use and abuse you in this sport, and you have to protect yourself. And I obviously have created a team. I got my family and my coaches, and they all have my best interest in at hand. And I've always told them that I'm in it till they say I don't have it no more. Or whenever I feel like my younger self, the hunger of my younger self can beat the skills that I have now, then it would be.
Meanwhile, across the ocean, Alexander Volkanovski is shutting down retirement talk of his own. Ahead of UFC 325, rumors started circulating that Volkanovski might hang it up after facing Diego Lopez. Volk made it clear those rumors came out of nowhere. He admitted that after his last fight, he naturally asked himself how many more he had left, but that's just being honest, not planning retirement.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from exactly. Obviously, I guess whether people are just going off what I say, like I'm like, how many more do I have? If I was to get beaten up, am I gonna come back to fight? No, you know what I mean. But that's not my plans, unless something things go horrendously wrong. I'm planning on going back out there. Whether the next one, taking on an undefeated fighter in the UFC or something like that. I mean, that's appealing. Maybe that could be one that I finish up on. But right now, I plan on everything going well, getting my hand raised. Hopefully take a minimal damage so I can have a quick turnaround and still fighting. So the plan isn't definitely to retire, so you know what I mean? So that's, I don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
There was a talk straight after my last fight. I'm like, how many more? You never know. There were talks like that. But as soon as I started training, I was like, let's keep going.
In another corner of the MMA world, Francis Ngannou's name is back in the conversation, and this time, it's about a return to MMA. According to Ngannou's coach Eric Nicksick, Francis is itching to get back in the cage. Nicksick revealed that Ngannou reached out recently saying he wants back into MMA, and surprisingly, he's already in fantastic shape. Apparently, this is the lightest and leanest Nicksick has ever seen him. His knee is feeling good, he's doing road work, training daily, and already looks dialed in. The target? A possible return in 2026. Nicksick admitted he'd love to see Francis compete back in the UFC because of the level of competition, but he also mentioned names like Vadim Nemkov as serious options. Wherever Francis ends up, the message is clear: he's not done, and he's preparing like a man with unfinished business. Staying overseas, former middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis has quietly returned to the grind. After losing his title to Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319, Dricus kept a low profile, but now he's been spotted sparring and hitting mitts at Bang Tao Muay Thai in Thailand. Now let's talk about the announcements that sparked a firestorm online. Dana White officially revealed the UFC's return to Seattle. The March 28th card at Climate Pledge Arena will be headlined by former two-time middleweight champion Israel Adesanya taking on surging contender Joe Pyfer.
Seattle, we're coming back. We'll be back on March 28th to the Climate Pledge Arena. The main event, former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. Adesanya, former two-time middleweight champ, 16 of his 24 wins by knockout, and Joe Pyfer is on a 3-fight win streak, and since winning the Contender Series, all but one of his wins have come by.
The co-main event features former flyweight champion Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber, who's on a 7-fight tear.
On the card, we have former champ Alexa Grasso facing Macy Barber. Grasso is currently ranked number 3 in the flyweight division and is the first female ever Mexican UFC champion. Number 5 ranked Macy Barber is on a 7-fight win streak. She's second all-time in flyweight history for wins, knockout, and win streak, only behind Valentina Shevchenko. Tickets are on sale February 6th on Ticketmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, March 28th from Seattle, Washington, and streaming on Paramount+. I'll see you up in Seattle.
Both fighters reacted quickly. Adesanya posted, "Here we go again," while Pyfer called it a blessing and promised hard work, faith, and belief would carry him through. On paper, the card is solid, but the way it was announced, that's where the controversy exploded. Fans and creators alike slammed the UFC and Dana White for what they see as a massive decline in promotion quality. MMA On Point summed it up perfectly, pointing out how announcements went from cinematic promos to studio reveals, to Instagram lives that barely feel planned. Some fans questioned when Dana lost the fire, while others argued the UFC no longer cares about presentation because it doesn't have to. It sparked a bigger conversation about monopoly power, fan tolerance, and whether the UFC's dominance has made effort optional. And finally, one of the most intriguing fight announcements of the week, Paulo Costa is officially leaving the middleweight division. Costa is moving up to 205 pounds to face undefeated Azamat Murzakanov at UFC 327 on April 11th in Miami. This marks Costa's second appearance at light heavyweight, but this time it's intentional. After years of weight issues, cancellations, and inconsistency, Costa seems ready to reset his career. He's coming off a much-needed win over Roman Kopylov after losses to Sean Strickland and Robert Whittaker. Meanwhile, Murzakanov is quietly one of the most dangerous men in the division, 6-0 in the UFC with 5 knockouts, including a brutal first-round finish of Alexander Rakic. This is a high-risk, high-reward move for Costa, and it could define the next phase of his career. That's going to do it for today's MMA Roundup. If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay locked in for more MMA news. I'll see you in the next one.